Hey folks, today on the bench I have another VHD player. This one is a National DP-800, right? Yeah, 800. Issue with this, so this one is basically working, however, it just needs a little more tidying up because it's still stalling when loading, unloading disk. At least it has been the last several times I tried to load a disk in here. The style, everything is good. It will play. It's just that on this chassis, uh, you will generally come across this. Now, is it going to happen or? See, it's stalling there. I already removed the 4 screws on the back here to take the cover off. This is what the inside looks like here. So this is where it's stalling. If I turn it back on, it's still going to struggle. Yeah. That's where we're at for this thing. But I'll just... Okay, well now it's unstuck at that point. And you will see that it will play a disc fine. Oh, gee. Stylus on this chassis seems like it takes on this chassis. I have the DP-350, the same player that Techbone demonstrated in his VHD videos. Wait, back out. It seems like it does take a little longer for the stylus to start playback. Then again, I don't think this disc is the most perfect disc in the world, by a country mile. So I want to do a better job of cleaning out the loading mech there, because I do have intentions of parting with this thing. Give it to go home to someone who needs someone who needs to add VHD support. Another tech nerd who wants to add this format to their roster. So I'm going to show how to get to the loading gear down there and all that. It's not a pretty process, but in the end, you do get a better admiration for these machines. So let's get to it. Okay, so you got a nice aerial view of what we're up against here. So what you have to do to get to, because there's a cam gear here, and it's driven by worm gear, which is attached to a motor via a belt. That belt is what's slipping. That, and I do want to check the grease that was applied on here. I did not get this directly from Zen Market. Yahoo Auctions, that is. One of my buddies had this, got this, and seems like he did the work on there, but he had a little bit of an issue. So he just gave it to me, free of charge. Sound stylus, I had to provide that from a parts unit. But I was able to recorrect the timing, and I got it to where it is now. However, it's still, as you saw, it's still stalling, and it wasn't always doing that, but now it seems to be dedicated to stalling. So looks like what we need to do is go in and clean the loading belt, because on my 350, that's all it needed. That and applying new grease. Again, these things are 4 years old just about, so bad idea to replace grease. So take the front cover off. I'm going to have to be very mindful of which screws go where. Front cover has more screws. I'm trying to get this in the shot. Yeah, here are the screws all along here. Almost lost that one. Yeah, so we just want to do the fronts for now at least. Okay, I think now it should. I'm wondering maybe I should take the stylus out because I'm going to be. Okay, so when you do that, the front plate slides out. There we go. It's held in by. Sorry. There's a cable here connected to the front display. All right. Now, as you'll see, the door is actually its own thing. It's not part of the front cover. We are going to have to remove the door. So to do that, it's held in by 2 screws here. Does this one just pull out? Yeah, okay, so that just pulls out once you get this part off because this flap here stays attached to the machine. There are screws here. They're hidden in the dark. So let me shine a light on them. There's a screw here, and then a screw there that will have to come out. Right, I think, from what I recall, all of the screws along the bottom here have to go. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is get this top part off. But really, in order to do that, because you have this piece here, just holding it down, that has to get shimmied out of the way more or less in order to remove this. But that is attached to this, so we have to move this entirely just to get all those, just to move that aside, just to get the top part of the door out. You know, it's a really, I mean, this player is really neat. I do like this chassis. I like the auto-blowing Nationals, but just, they really weren't expecting people to, like, come back in to, like, do any of this maintenance. There's no shot. Because why would you make something like this if you were intending it to be serviced? Ooh, goodness. So now the screws that hold in the bottom here have to go. And there's a little bug trying to get up all my face as I'm trying to screw this. Yeah, not easy, not the easiest thing in the world to have to put this upside down just to, I'm sorry, on its end just to, you know, remove some screws. Now, I do believe there's more. We're kind of there. Cause see what we can move that quite a bit now. That might be enough clearance. See, I believe we remove this screw too. Yeah, it's easy to remember where these long guys go because they're pretty unique. Okay, we definitely remove these two screws here. So that's all the screws holding this part down. So is it enough? Okay, it just is enough. Yeah, so it's kind of recreate what I just did. So, because that part kind of took me by surprise. So just move that out, and then this just should be out of the way. Yeah, so just put it like, you can put it here. Okay, so we're that much closer to the goods. So there's a screw here, there's a screw here. As you see, this part is held in by wires that go to like what look like photo sensors here. Now, interestingly, on this chassis, if you try to insert an empty caddy, it will only eject it like part way, like here, and then it'll like, you know, put the spine back in. So it seems like this. I'm wondering if that's what those photo detectors are there for, just to make sure that there's like a disc being inserted, or like to prevent like a broken disc or something from being inserted. It's pretty interesting. So just these two screws here. Seems like it. Yes. Yeah, this thing you just gotta find a place to just kind of shimmy this across without getting like anything too dirty. Oh yeah, it's also, this part's also held in by wires down there, so you really don't. That's as good a spot as any, I guess. Well, whatever. We have access to this here. So here's the motor. It attaches to a worm gear via a belt. And then this here is what does all the magic. Now, I don't know what grease my pal used here. I don't recognize it. I don't know if he used too much of it or what. But initially what was wrong, this tab here wasn't going back. Like it was like mistimed. So it wasn't like back here where it should be. I think maybe you remove a bit of the grease in here. That could potentially be a little too much. So I don't think, because this thing has been running fine, I don't feel like I need to apply new grease or anything like that. So to get at this, to actually remove the worm gear, you do have to like remove the turntable in order to get access to like this part here, because you want to remove the pin, you know, that it's resting on. But really, to do that, you have to get this turntable out of the way. Just take it off and get it back. And put this in a place where you won't lose it and where it won't get damaged. On the 350, it's held in by an E-clip, but it doesn't look like that on this one.
Or am I not seeing? I might not be seeing something because it's not letting me just push it back. So looks like kind of pop them these tabs out. There we go. And then okay, there we are. So I was okay. So it's different on this one than on the other one. That's interesting. So I was just popping little tabs here until it just was able to clear free. So I'll put that aside. Okay, so that's how you remove the belt. So belt's not bad. It's just gonna need some cleaning. So will run back in and get that taken care of. With I'll just use soap water, run this thing through. That's easier than having to worry about rubber renew and all that. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, I cleaned the belt. I also cleaned the pulleys on the motor and the worm gear here, just so this belt has no excuse to slip. So putting this back, going to have to align these while also not getting the belt dirtier. Yeah, it's like I don't hear a clicking sound. Now I do. Okay. I think in the new year I'm going to need to get a new camera because this is kind of isn't exactly what I was hoping this camera to be. Hoping for something that would at least have a focus on it. So I just want to have it aligned to more or less where it was before. I think it was like right here ish. I mean, it'll correct itself once you get things plugged back in. So what this part hook lines up with, it lines up with, can I not flip this over? Shoot, not really. Okay, so this rectangular part here, this peg coming out is to line up with the, oh, was that, I think that was a screw. Yeah, okay. It's supposed, that peg is supposed to line up with like one of the holes in this rectangle here. That's how I've done it. You should kind of be able to tell when it's lined up, I think. Okay, no, it's good because it should be good at least because it's inside that slot. So something nice that you can do is that you can test this partially disassembled just to make sure that you have everything, make sure that the cleaning went well and such. And oh my goodness, I hate when screws do that, when they don't want to cooperate whatsoever. Yeah, so that's down pat, and then get the top part on. I don't even think we need to screw that down. I just gotta slide this guy in. This thing does not want to come back together. Maybe another screw does need to come out after all. Like, will that help anything? Okay. Okay, so that should be in a good state to try this out. Oh, well. First, let me get the turntable on. And this kind of slides back on. Not the prettiest thing because it's scraping against that. But that's okay. And God willing, this thing is going to not give us any more problems after that belt cleaning. There was definitely gunk on that belt because it was, when I was washing it, it was nice and black on the paper towel, but now it's no longer doing that. So the power on is here. Sounds like I got that correct. Let me use my now I don't have the stylus here. This is just making sure that it's going to okay. So that's good so far. Eject. Yeah, this flange here gets misaligned whenever you do this, so I'll take care to doing that. Jeez Louise. That sounds much better now. Just going to rework this a bunch of times. Okay. So that issue looks to be resolved. Now let's put the rest of the screws back in. So just remember what you did with those screws when you set them aside carefully. Now, as far as like outright replacing the belt, when I was first working on my 350, I did try it with a new belt altogether, but it made things worse. So later on, I realized that I could just wash the belt, soap and water method, and that would be more than enough to get it to play. Because the belt wasn't like really out of shape. It kept a nice shape to it after all these years. So you want to replace belts when they're out of shape, but when they're in shape, you should be able to get away with just washing them. So there are those top gears there. Whoop. Now these ones. Oh, weren't these fun? At this point, I can bring out my electric screwdriver. It's really loud. I'm sorry about that. I think this puppy's showing her age. Just realizing, I think I left a screw done in on the end here. So, managed to do all that with that screw in. I will say one of them was connected to like a ground sock, a ground terminal. So. So just make sure that's connected and all when you're screwing it back in. It was only those two. The screw here is smaller, so you want to use a smaller bit. So right now it's in. So right now it's in the opposition. So when we put the door back on, we would expect the flap to be here. Then when it's powered on, when it goes to load unload, it should go there. So. I kind of shimmy that just to work it between the teeth of the gear here. Okay, that should be fine because you want it, obviously you want it facing like this when it's not loading a disc. Slide that back in. Yeah, what's unfortunate too is that I probably just by needing to get this back on, I think I messed up the alignment. Well, it's not going into anything. What gives? I'm going at it on an angle, but. Just by one tooth maybe. All right, I'm not gonna push my luck. I'm not gonna break this thing's. Just okay. Yeah, so that looks good. That's still going good, going strong. We can get the remainder of this on. By remainder, I really just mean the front cover here. So this is where the plug. So here's the front cover. This is where the front cover is plugged into. I can't hold it up and get that in, so just know where that is whenever you go to do this. Come on, my battery's about to die here. I at least want to do this. Okay, there we go. Maybe we'll get it on its end. Okay, so this cover has knobs that you want to align with what's on the board. So I like to put them on at one end. I think anyone can agree with that. again, get the. You could probably do is. Well, now I got. What you can probably do is. That I imagine will work. Because then it won't rest back on the. Right? Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. What is going on with this thing? Why doesn't it want it? Okay. What gives? Whoever buys this thing off me is probably going to see this video and be like, geez, does this guy really know what he's doing? Okay. So after some freaking troubles there, we got it on. So let me just get the last of these screws in. Okay, so I'm running out of battery life out here. So I just got the rest of the front of the screws on the front panel. I put the stylus back in. Just want to quickly demonstrate that this thing is going to work now. So insert a disc. There we go. Not getting any issues, and if I pivot the camera, oh, well, that's going to look really awkward in my screen, but it is playing the disc. No issues whatsoever with playback here. Only thing is, I think the connections to my TV are going out, because when I was working in here yesterday, I had to like put the left RCA jack in at a certain spot in order to get the sound out of the left audio jack. So I was working on a Betamax yesterday, and I had to do that same issue. That's the process for getting access to the loading belt and the worm gear assembly on this chassis. As you saw, it's pretty. There's a lot of parts to move out of the way and whatnot, but But once you get access to the loading belt, you can then clean it. You can apply new grease. Again, I didn't have to because there was already new grease on here. And you're basically set to go, because my 350, after doing the procedure on that, has not stalled on me since. And now that the loading belt on this is clean, I suspect that this thing will be good to go to a new home. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps those who have these players that need a little bit of a guidance on fixing them up. So you have a great rest of your day.